Hey guys, so welcome back. And let me do some housekeeping. You may see me wearing the same shirt. I don't know if you guys know about the content world. I'm still fairly new to it, but ain't nobody got time for changing and all that kind of stuff. I will do it as I am able to, but today I am outside. So don't have a change of clothes, wardrobe change, and all that kind of stuff. But hey, you get me raw and authentically, okay? And I don't like bugs, so you may see me look down from time to time because I feel like stuff's crawling on me. But anyways, okay. So back to today's video. Today we're going to be talking about, let's go with Aubrey. Aubrey's my oldest. She's the 17-year-old. And if you recall from last video, I gave a list of all the diagnoses that they had. For Aubrey, I knew at birth that something was a little different with her. I had to have C-section with all three of my children. I'm only 4'9", and all the doctors were like, I don't think she has birthing hips. I don't know what that means, but I guess I didn't have them, and they decided for me to give me 2 dates for births for my second and my third. My son, my oldest son, he was actually an emergency C-section, so that birth didn't count. But in terms of being decided, picking a date. But anyways, so for Aubrey, the only complaint that I have for her with pregnancy was I had hyperemesis, and oh my God, that first trimester was horrible. I remember throwing up so much, and I remember one day just saying, Lord, look, let her live, but take me or something, because it was just too much. Water, everything. And in the first 11 days with her, I lost 10 pounds from throwing up so much. And at that time, I probably only weighed like 98, 100 pounds. So it wasn't much else, nowhere for me to go in terms of weight. I was supposed to go up, but I went down drastically. And the doctor gave me 2 options. Either we try a vitamin and sleeping pill regimen, and as soon as you take it, as soon as you eat, you take these vitamins and sleeping pill, or you're going to be hospitalized. And at the time, well, who wants to go in the hospital? I know I didn't, so I just said, let's try it. And that was literally what I had to do. I had to eat, and as soon as I ate, I had to hurry up and take all the medication. I actually thought a contributor to her condition was, of course, all of that. The Zofran, and remember there was a Zofran lawsuit. And they had the audacity to tell me that I did not qualify, because at the time, when that lawsuit took place, they had cognitive on there, but I don't even think they really knew what they were doing. But it's okay. It's okay. So as a result, though, of that, those complications in the beginning, I was just ready to be done with being pregnant, because it was rough. And I remember when, fast forward now to when she was born. I remember when she was born, and I was holding her one night for the first time. And I say first time because, once those all the medicine, I'm small, so once all the medicines from the epidural and whatever else drugs that they give you when you're in a C-section, once all those things like get in my system, like it knocks me out for a little bit. And it did the same with her. And when I did wake up and was holding her, she kind of felt like I was holding jello. She didn't really feel like solid, like strong. And I could tell that I needed a lot more support holding her than, of course, my firstborn. Not comparing apples and oranges, but you know when you've held a newborn, some babies just feel strong. She did not at the time, and that was my first. Okay, it wasn't a red flag, but it was definitely we gonna put a pin in that. And she was the most alert little baby too, because when her eyes were open, she was looking around and just trying to understand, see what was happening. And she's still like that today. She's a little nosy, but that's okay. And I remember seeing her eyes kind of dancing, the nystagmus I later learned to know. And I was like, okay. And when the pediatrician came in to make their rounds, she looked and she said, "Oh, mama, she's fine. You can't compare apples and oranges," meaning my firstborn and her, which I was not doing at all. I'd taken child development and developmental psychology in children to know, okay, every child is different. So I wasn't expecting similarities, and she's a girl, so I wasn't expecting similarities between her and my son, who at that time was 5. But let's fast forward. Aubrey did not meet all her milestones. 6 months, she was not sitting up like a typical child. 9 months, she was not crawling yet, still at 9 months. And I think 9 months is when she finally started sitting up. I would say she started crawling, and it was army crawling by like 10, 11 months. 12 months, was not pulling to stand or any of the things. 15 months, some babbling and talking. She did that regularly and normal. But pulling to stand still wasn't happening at 15 months. Got her in walkers, and all the things. She stayed kind of in those for a while. But it wasn't until Aubrey was 23 months and a friend and her family stayed with us for a little bit, and her daughter was walking. And I remember the day I saw Aubrey like pull up on the couch. She kept watching her, and she was just like studying her, and I just, I was just sat in the back. I think I was watching both babies that day. And I just was just watching. And the baby girl, she was walking. So she got up and walked to the TV to dance at the TV. And Aubrey was like, let me see if I can do that. So Aubrey tried, and she just pulled up to the couch and pulled up on the couch and stood there. And the look on her face was just like, I did it. And from there, as they say, the rest is history. Once she figured out, and I think it was just like probably a fear, being that I didn't know what her eyes were at that point. I got her diagnosis at 9 months of optic nerve atrophy. Sorry, I didn't include that or state that in the beginning. But once she pulled up, the rest is history. Walking took place at 23 months for her, and she's been doing fine ever since. Talking just fine. learning, because I knew the deficit of the eyes, and like I said, I did child development, wasn't going to school to be a teacher then. I knew that she needed all things auditory, so I blasted her environment with Leapfrog is my favorite phonetic video at the time, and I still have it now. And she knew her phonics, she knew her alphabet and all those things when she got into school and stuff. So I just made sure I kept her environment full of learning videos. And you know, 2008, the videos and content that was available, I don't even think we had YouTube yet, but everything was on DVD. So just made sure I kept buying DVDs that were rich in alphabet and phonics, numbers, all those types of things. Let's see, I think might be, let's go now to when she's about 5 years old. I noticed that Aubrey kind of sat weird, and not weird in the fact that like she sat on a chair different or anything like that, but it was like there was a curvature. Went to her pediatrician said, oh, she's fine. And he even said, oh, you know, kids develop differently, nothing's wrong with her back, she's fine. Fast forward to 9 years old, we learned she has scoliosis. And that I already knew, I figured, but we'll jump into that in another video. Early years for school though for Aubrey were, I thought were great. She was learning like everyone else, a little behind, but I knew and understood because of her vision, she was not going to learn at the same pace as her sighted peers. She was in a special ed class, and this is where my introduction to the educational system began, and my activism was ignited. So we're gonna end this here, but we're gonna talk about more of her educational journey in the next video. So once again, we're gonna end this video, but if you would be so kind as to like and subscribe, and any comments that you have, please put them in the chat. Questions you may have, put them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them in the upcoming videos. Thank you. God bless.